We are going behind the scenes of Content Catalyst, and joining me is one of my amazing students who I have witnessed and worked with for the last wee while. And I'm just actually streaming on a few platforms, so bear with me while we click all the buttons. But joining me today is Coach Elke, and we are talking what it's like behind the scenes of Content Catalyst. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I am super well. How are you, Deb?
Now, before we get started, I have to, because we've been talking a little bit off camera here, and we've had a bit of a giggle because I'm pretty good at names and
Are
pronouncing
you?
things,
Are
but
you?
I'm still terrible at pronouncing your name. Can you please tell us your name properly, not my bad pronunciation of it, and tell me, what do you do?
So my name's Elke Einfeld and my business is Coach Elke. I'm a lifestyle coach and I help people navigate their next steps in their life and business to get clarity, purpose and direction and more fun.
Oh, more fun. Gosh, don't we need more fun?
Absolutely. Why
Um,
else would we want to do all this if it was just not fun?
my God. Like, okay, so let's backtrack a minute. How did we meet, and how did you come to be a Content Catalyst member?
We are still actually part of another mastermind.
Yes.
So that's how we originally met, and then we became part of an accountability group that's still going, and we
Yeah.
meet every week at a way too early hour, just
It's
saying.
Monday at 8 a.m. Like it literally is my power up Monday. I have two power up sessions on a Monday, and I absolutely love both of them. But like 8 o'clock in the morning on a
There's
Monday,
no hair or makeup, but
there's no
that's
hair or
okay.
makeup, is there? Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's so good. So I got to, you actually got me unstuck with a whole lot of stuff in our accountability group, which,
Really?
dare I say, actually led to a lot of the content in Content Catalyst, which I
Mhm.
have to say is incredibly supportive and it so fast tracks in getting unstuck because my messaging, I love what I do
Mm.
and face to face it works and I can create that engagement and all the rest, but being online it's such a different space to be
Mm.
able to do that. I mean, people's attention spans are so short, and if you don't
Mm.
capture that and engage straight away, you lose it. And so, people just keep scrolling. And also my messaging, I just don't
So
feel
hang
like,
on, you're talking about social media here, but it was more than social media, right?
oh, absolutely. It's the whole, that's what I was about to say. Just my
Mm.
messaging wasn't right. Like I was too top level. It's just, I'm
Mm.
a trained coach and it was just like, well, okay, not everybody knows what that means and every coach shows up differently and all the rest of it. And so for me, I'm a mindset coach, I'm a lifestyle coach, I'm a business coach. I do all of those things, but then, what resonates, like what, and that's where going deeper into the messaging has been like a game changer.
Yeah, right. And I know that when we first started our accountability group, that was your biggest struggle of going, you had put together this amazing website, you ticked all the boxes, you had all this information in there, you had your lead magnet in there, you had your website built, you had your course, and there just was so much that it was confusing, not clear.
Yeah, and I have to say it's probably one of the biggest lessons, not just in learning online marketing,
Mm.
but in life in general. It actually takes a lot of thought to simplify. Just take things out to be clear.
Mm.
And, it's interesting because it's what I coach on so much and so often is clarity. And because without clarity, there's no progress. Like you need to know where you're going. Um, you need to know what you want, because if you don't know what you want, how will you know if you get it, right?
And just to touch on that is when you say you know to do all the things, it's the old thing of it's hard to read the label from inside the jar, and often we are so close to our businesses that we need someone else to just give us a little bit of a mirror and give us that little bit of perspective, and I know that's so true for myself.
Yeah, well, when I remember you were saying some things and talking about A role and B role, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm meant to.
What
Am I
what
meant
what
to
is
be
that?
doing A and B roles? I'm not sure what that is.
Is that like a cake slice that we roll up? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so starting with, doing the content catalyst, it
Mm,
starts at the fundamentals. It's
mhm,
getting your message right. It's who do you want to who is your ideal client? Who do you want to work with? Who, lights you up and you have that synergy with, and then creating the messaging around that. So that sounds so simple to do, but can
mm.
I just say, I think it is the biggest struggle for anyone on any online platform, like
Me too,
showing up online. Yeah.
me too. I spent the last part of the year getting my messaging right because I needed to firstly define my offer and who I was targeting with that offer.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
That's who you were targeting, and
Yeah.
it's good. It's moved the needle.
Interesting. So, I guess because we had actually worked together in our accountability group, then you also did some one-to-one work with me. What was I guess, what made you interested to then join Content Catalyst or even work one-to-one with me for that matter?
So the tech, you are so clear and patient explaining like
My mum, can I just say, would not say that at all. She's a
yeah,
bull at
no,
a gate.
my daughter's not patient with me either explaining stuff, so I think that's just a mum-daughter thing. But it makes a huge difference when it can be just the tiniest little thing that blocks you, and then
Mm.
everything becomes in the too hard basket. Whereas
So
you've
when you
been
say
able
tech, what sort of tech were you struggling with?
just even making decisions on do you use, a scheduler, what's the best one to go? Everything's so expensive. You end up with all of these extra subscriptions that you don't know how to use properly, that you're paying for, and you might only use a part of it that you don't even need because that's in part of something else, and
Mhm,
it's overwhelming. And it's honestly, it's not my forte. Like my
mhm,
forte is working with people and bringing out the
mm,
best in them and getting them unstuck and moving them forward.
yeah,
And the tech side of it was sucking my energy so massively and so much time as well. Whereas
mm,
you've simplified that. You talk about pretty much everything that you need to show up online: the camera, the podcast, the lighting, the platforms. Start off with this, see how you go. If you need to expand, if you're going to do a podcast, how do all of the things that you need. It's you don't bog down with the detail. It's almost like you just may wave your magic wand and you just make it so much easier to understand. That's what I found. And I've been doing a lot of courses with a lot of different people,
mm,
and I just haven't had that clarity before. Whereas you've actually, if I've been stuck with something, you've jumped on a one-on-one with me and we have workshopped it and
mm.
resolved it right then, right there. And then I've just been able to make these big leaps, and that makes such a difference.
It's really
And this is
interesting
just
what
the
you
beginning
say
of the
there.
context as well.
Yeah, no, but it's so true, and I find it myself. We were saying this off air, is that we are, let's just do it, let's get it done and make things happen, and if we're procrastinating on something, there's a reason. Right?
Yeah,
And and it can be as simple as, and I look at this myself, is that it can be as simple as one simple thing is I don't know how to, and then we go, I'll just put it over here. I'll just put it on the back burner, move on to something else because we get shit done, right? And because we do that, it's like we don't have time to dwell on the small things. However, it's those small things that make up the big difference of moving the needle forward. And tech is one of the biggest things that I know I struggled with over the years. And it would hold me back. And so that's, I guess I've always been a bit of a geek with that stuff. So that's why my curiosity then, deep dives into how, well, I'm going to hyper focus on this and I'll work this out. But it is one of those things that it can hold us back so much. And it's that one thing that can really move the needle forward, right?
100%. And
Mm,
like what you just said, like you love geeking out on all that sort of stuff and you constantly experiment and try and test, and which benefits us in the
mm,
membership. And
mm,
it's interesting because it's something that's it's a high value for me, is to have a curiosity mindset. But for
mm,
me, with tech, I just want to know, and I want to learn how to use it properly of what I need to know. I don't need to know all the other stuff.
mm,
And that's what you've done. You've filtered out all the stuff that you don't need. And
mm,
this is, and then for that individual person, for that individual business, what is it that
mm.
you need in this moment to move you forward? And that's
I'm a constant experimenter I love experimenting. And if you know anything about tech, that is one of the things I'm like, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try this. And I will go into this rabbit hole. And I did that last week with our StreamYard. And we are streaming right now with StreamYard. It's like, here's what it can do. Here are the updates. And here's what it can't do. And this is right for you if. So I think that's one of my loves, is being able to uncomplicate things. It's like, because life is complicated enough as it is, right? It's
isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
so walk me through. So you joined, so we'd had worked together, but then what made you then go, I'm going to join Content Catalyst? And you're not just a member, and I say that very it's just but you're a member, but you're also an accelerator member, which means that you get our masterclass and workshops and workrooms, but you also get a one-to-one accountability with it. What made you go, yes, it's a no-brainer for me?
Well, compared to other places where I've seen that charge a ridiculous amount of money for it, yours is
Mhm.
so affordable, but it's just so much value. It was just a no-brainer because I know it's just what you've done just in our accountability groups, which is like a smidge of what is happening in the Content Catalyst. You get it's all there, and you you walk me through it.
Mm,
It's systemized. It's just something that flows, and you then empower yourself with the next step. And so it's like the knowledge base gets built constantly each week, that we do a different
mm.
type of learning, because you've got the workroom, and correct me with the names of them. It's a bit
No, it
late at
is. It's a
night.
workroom. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so we've
absolutely.
got the workroom, but then there's the editing. There's 3 different workspaces that you've got in there, all targeting different areas of like which you need in there.
Mm,
So it's a holistic look at your business. And the
mm.
biggest thing is I've just had some major, major life changes, which
You've
has been
had
a big
massive
energy.
life changes. Like, seriously,
Been
a
yeah.
lot.
It's been a really massive drain on me, and I've got this
Yeah.
super awesome course that I've been wanting to this program that I've been wanting to launch for
Mm,
months now, which is called the Lifestyle Creator,
mm.
TLC. It's TLC for the
I
soul.
love a bit of TLC.
Um, and because I've had all these other things in my personal life, and I've been wanting to do that, like I'm a doer. I want to get stuff done. I want to
You
make things
do.
happen. I want to help people, and it was really frustrating me because then I had so much of other things that I had to do. Like I was selling my house, and open
All the
homes.
massive
That
life
was
changes
all
you've
these big
had.
things, and open homes and school holidays, not fun, just
Nightmare.
saying.
Mm,
But there's all this, and the nicest thing that you said to me, and that's the thing about, when you can, you see someone else that's in struggle town, and you can just say, just take things off your plate. And that's where
Mm,
you're just like, you know what can you show up for right now? You can do your one-on-ones. Yep, just do that. And so
mm,
just doing that, like all this, took off, pressure came off me,
mm,
which then actually opened up my creative space again of being able to go even deeper into my business. And so that
mm.
was, when we feel overwhelmed and overburdened and unclear, we don't make progress.
We
And
don't we don't think clearly either, do we?
no,
Mm,
absolutely not. So, I'm really
mm.
great in holding that space for you, like with mindset and helping you get clarity on that side of things. But when it's your own head and,
Ah,
what's the expression you use? You can't read
inside the jam jar. Can't read the
exactly,
label.
exactly. Um, that's the difference. And then also,
Mm,
because there's all these other dynamic business owners in the group, you're getting other people's perspectives and you're learning from them, and they
mm.
ask questions that you might not even think to ask, and then you listen to them, how you actually problem solve what their things, which is then applicable. So it's deep learning. It's good. I love it.
Community is so important to me because I'm part of the Groundswell Foundation, which is working towards uh, working on loneliness. Loneliness impacts so many people. And in Australia, like the statistics are off the chart of how loneliness affects people and our mental health.
Massive.
So, as a Groundswell Foundation, ambassador, I am so passionate about connecting people and bringing community. And so, when I launched Content Catalyst, it was all about how can we, as a community, come together and connect. So last year, I launched my course, and that was great. It was a 6-week course that I taught live, and I got to the end of the 6 weeks, and people were asking what next, but I was feeling it going, I miss seeing everybody on a Tuesday. Like I really miss the community that I garnered from my course presenting it live. So when I launched Content Catalyst membership, one of my number one priorities was, one, we learn, but we have to implement, which is why I do a masterclass once a month. So we learn the thing, but then there's 2 workrooms a month where we actually take action and implement what we've learned, because without taking like the steps to implement things, we don't get action. And I do this all the time. And this is why I created this, was because I do it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'll learn the thing. And then I'll get around to, making that speaker page or my one sheet or
We
whatever
never
it is.
do. We
Never
never
do.
do.
So when we have accountability to come into a safe space to go, we're going to workshop this and we're going to flesh it out together. And we've got everyone in the community giving us that safe support as well. It is so powerful. So that was one thing, but I also know that community really helps to motivate us. It really helps to inspire us, and it really helps to pick us up from the times, because business is hard and it is lonely, especially when you are doing it solopreneur. It is the most loneliest space. And I have, joined communities that have been life changing for me. And that was what I wanted to bring into this space of going. One of the things with content creation is it really is the ultimate mirror shining against your confidence, your ability, and how you present yourself to the world, right? And we all know we want to present our best version. And I think the most important thing is when we are on a content creation journey, and I'm not just talking about social media, I'm just talking about our whole business. Everything that we do is content creation in business, because we have to tell our story. And the only way we can really make an authentic connection is by telling our story. And that was what my motivation was for Content Catalyst, was when you tell your story of what you do, you help so many people, and make such an impact that it changes their whole complete life. And I know off camera, just before we jumped on this, we had this one chat where you are helping this one person at the moment, and this one person has had, done all the therapy and done all the work over the years, and it took you. And this person told me this. They're like, "Thank you so much for introducing me, because no one has gotten through to me like you."
That means so much to me. Thank you. Like, that's my soul food, and I think because,
Mm,
like, I've had my hurdles and challenges, um, to get through for a long time, and I think when you can ease someone's suffering and get them out of pain, that that's huge.
it's life-changing.
It is life-changing, and but it's also bigger because it's the ripple effect. So when you
Mhm,
empower somebody to take their life back and to
mm,
create a better life,
mm,
then everyone that their life touches becomes better.
mhm,
And so, one person becomes many, and that ripple effect then goes out into society. And so it's, you know, when we learn to manage our minds and our emotions, and we build up,
mm,
we stop taking overthinking and procrastinating, and being in that suffering and loneliness, and that's what happens
mm,
with mental health issues. We then isolate ourselves, we
mhm,
shut down, we start living a small life, we stop having fun, we don't feel
mhm,
fulfilled. And helping somebody when they move through that, because we've all got that something inside of us that contributes to the world, right? We hear that, and when you're feeling in that hole, you just roll your eyes because you're like, yeah, look, I'm just Joe Blow, nothing special
right?
here,
Just rolling along.
just rolling along. But
Mm,
then when you find that spark,
mm,
and that moves the needle for yourself, and that's when you want to engage with the world again, and that's when building building those connections. And I think that's why you and I get on so well, because we've got, our values are aligned that way. It's literally, you just want to
mm,
help people, you want to bring out the best in people.
right,
um yeah, and that's
absolutely. But if you didn't show up to tell your story of how you help people, you would never have helped this one person that I'm thinking of. And and that's why it is so important for people. And I'm gonna have a rant here, because I was watching someone on TikTok last night, and I'm across all the platforms, it's what I do, but I was watching some woman on TikTok, and she would have been in her 50s, and she's there sitting there going, and I say she's in her 50s because she's my generation, and she's telling everyone, "No, no, don't worry about showing up without showing your face and telling your story. Just do faceless posts." And I look back through, and then the reason I say it's TikTok is because TikTok, while it does carousels now, it's all about talking head video, right? That's the most impactful thing about TikTok. That's why it's done so well. It's so raw and authentic. And I'm watching this woman talk about, "Oh, and I don't worry about faceless, you just do faceless posts, faceless videos." And I'm like, I'm going to call bullshit on that right now. And I'm going to call massive bullshit, because every single one of your posts talking about doing faceless posts, you've shown your face. So that's crap. That is not true. Yes, it will complement what you're doing. Yes, it will certainly help with all the other bits of information you're sharing. But if you're just doing a single, like, non-faceless AI generated stock photo, there's no connection, there's no brand. And that's why I got my goat up, because she's saying in this post is that, "Oh no, you can build community and you can build connection." And then I swiped along, and then there's some 25-year-old guy going, "Yeah, you can build community and all the things, like, if you don't show your face." And I'm there going, "No, you can't. You can build community, as in followers, and likes and impressions and things, but you will not ever build authentic, genuine communication and connections with people unless you show up, be vulnerable, tell your story of how you help people.
I think it's the difference of when you actually want to connect with
Yeah.
the people who resonate with you, because then you're
Mm.
going to create a business that's authentic and that's in
Yeah.
alignment, and that you can stick at. And I think when you're out of alignment, that's when
Mm.
you get stuck. That's when you
Yeah.
procrastinate. Like we were talking about that off camera
Oh,
before,
yeah.
right? As it's like, I know I'm such a doer. I very much take action. Something needs doing, I'll get it
Yes, you
done.
are. Yes,
Um,
you are. Like, you're the ultimate action taker.
well, gotta walk the walk, right? It's the action that moves the needle. But I
I'd be
know
like,
that
we're doing
when
our session, and I'm like, "Here's the list of things," and then I come back in the afternoon, and she's like, "Done, done, done. What's next?"
it's because he gave me clarity, right? That's what we need. When we're clear on
Love
what
it.
we need to do,
Remove those roadblocks right out of the way.
that's exactly right. That's, that's for me, we've had those conversations since the day I met you, and
Mm.
and you it's just the way you've shown the membership that you've created is
Mm.
just empowering so many business people to do the same thing. It's freaking awesome. So
Aw.
I love it because I feel empowered, and it means that I've got the clarity on what I need to do next. And
Mm.
even if it is actually that what I need to do next is to clear my plate
Yeah,
and
right.
exhale, but it's still moving the needle, because if you've got
Mm.
your plate is overflowing and you're
Oh,
in overwhelm, you're not
nothing.
going to be able to
You're not
hang
gonna
in
make
there.
great decisions.
Exactly, and you know what? Business, all those, all those overnight successes, you don't see the last 10 years of the overnight success.
No! Oh my
You
god, I
need
spoke about this on my last podcast, is that we compare ourselves to other people who are doing it for so much longer than us.
Yep. And yeah, and they've got all the things and they look so polished, and they, all, and it's
And
just like, well, they started somewhere as well. And I think that's the thing with you. It's like no matter where you're at, if you're just brand new, like when I started doing this 3 years ago online, oh
mm,
my goodness, like I really need to do more, but I'm getting there, like with doing the membership. But I've
mm.
got these 2 old, masterclasses that I've got on, a YouTube channel that I've created. They're the only 2 ones, and I look back at the sound and the quality of them, and I was just like,
Right.
"Oh my goodness." And it's just like half of me wants to take it down because it's like, "Oh, that's terrible." But then on the other hand, the message is
Right.
good. But yeah, that's exactly right. But, just with moving with you now, like getting just myself set up with the tech has just given me so much more confidence,
Mm.
because I feel better because I'm not struggling and I'm not glitching, and it's not, all these things aren't working. And yes, you remove the blocks. You remove the blocks with the business marketing side of things, and I move the blocks that are stuck in your head. Good
Yeah,
team.
and just to add to that as well, what you just said about those blocks is they really do slow us down, and it's not just about the tech, it's often the mindset that holds us back the most. And this is one of the things that I always talk about, is done is better than perfect. Always. Do it messy, do it before you're ready,
Do
and
it scared.
do it scared. I do it all the time. So if you look at my social media, if you look at my podcast, if you look at everything that I've ever done, if you go to my website, any expert could go in there and pull the things apart. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm good with that. And the reason why I'm good with that is because I feel it's much more important for me to help you than it is to worry about what I look like. And I think that's where we get so stuck in our heads, that we concern ourselves so much about what we present like and what we look like, that we have to give our best polished version. But it's often the things that we reveal that are most vulnerable that make the most impact. And I'll give you 2 examples of that. In yesterday's session of Content Catalyst, we were talking about our content categories, and somebody in there was trying to work out what one of their, buckets of topics that they were talking about were going to be. And they were like, when I share my stories, that is what gets the most engagement and like interaction. And I went, so when you share your story, what happens? Do you then show like how it started, and then you talk about how crappy it was, and then you get to the end of it and you were like, this is what I did and that I've worked through and got me out of it? And she goes, yeah. And I went, that's the transformation, right? That's the whole storytelling aspect, is when you share your vulnerability, when you share the real story, the real you, that's when you connect with people. And that's why your content gets such high engagement, is because you've taken people on this journey that they can relate to and going, yes, I struggle with that. Yes, that's exactly me. And you use the language that they're relating to, going, yeah, that's exactly how I felt, right? And then when you get to the other side of that and you show, but I got through it, that's where the inspiration comes from. And that's when we stop comparing ourselves to others, when we have that inspirational point of going, oh, if they did it, I can do it too. Right?
That's exactly right. One of the things which you've seen me go through, because I feel like I've gone full circle with the online side of things, online marketing. Like,
Oh,
that's one
yeah.
thing that I didn't realize just how much I had to learn in holding this space in
Yeah.
creating an online business. Like, I was so
Yeah.
ignorant to that fact.
Mm.
It's 80% online marketing and sort of 20% of doing the thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
More.
possibly.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing where because I didn't get my messaging on point for so long, then I was just like,
Mm.
oh, I changed niches, and that's when I created
You were
YOLO.
chopping and changing, weren't you? You were
Yeah,
literally chopping
yeah.
and changing.
Yeah, yeah, and so I rebranded and I did YOLO Retirement Consultancy,
Mm.
and, it was, yeah, and again, because I didn't nail the messaging properly, so now going,
Mm.
as I said, coming back full circle, which
Your
is with
core
where I
offer,
sorry, what was that?
you were, when we talk about this, we were talking about your core offer and then your person who you were talking to with that core offer as well.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, and that's what I'm saying, like, that's sort of when I
Mm.
started we started doing the accountability calls, and
Mm.
having more content with that, and that's where it's just like, well, when I first started this without any real knowledge of creating an online business, it was, but that was me showing up authentically, and then I lost
Yeah.
my way because I just listened to this person over here, this person over there, that person over there, and I was pulled in all these different directions that I lost myself. And
Mm.
it's, and this is what I'm saying, where the power in what you're doing with your membership
Mm.
is you're zeroing in on authenticity, and
Mm.
that's like creating that real connection, and you can't sustain without having that, without being in alignment and having that integrity in your business. You can't hang in there if you
Mm.
don't have that heart connection to it. Then
Mm.
you're not going to be able to sustain the rough times, and it's because it's like having a business is not linear,
Know
especially
your
in
why.
economic times, right?
Know
Cost of
your
living and
why.
all the rest of it.
The first exercise that we actually do in that core offer is, what's your why?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what that is, it's easy to get squirrelitis. It's easy to get distracted with the shiny bright object. It's easy to get deflated when you're not having a good week.
But then the other thing, what happens is you get busy, so you're busy
Mm.
all the time, but you're actually
Oh,
not getting any traction. And I wrote a blog on it, I don't know however long ago. It was just, and the analogy I use, it's like riding a bike without a chain. You're pedaling
I
really
love
hard
that.
and
I
you're
love
going
that so
nowhere.
much. That is so true though. We do that. When we procrastinate, instead of slowing down and doing nothing, we actually get busy doing other things to distract ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Particularly with my clients, I see them with that distraction. They get on, they'll either on social media and they'll be doing the doom scrolling, rather than actually doing things that will make their life better. It's
Mm.
distracting with whatever it is, whether it's overeating, over drinking, doom scrolling, endless like TV binging, whatever it is that you do. And we do that when we don't have
Mm.
clarity, when we
Yeah.
just numb out, when we're out of alignment, when we've lost ourselves.
We start comparing ourselves to other people and their journey.
Yeah, and because and feeling like we can't do this perfectly, therefore we don't do it at
Oh,
all.
perfectionism.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
That-
things, which is what I've just spoken about in my last 2 podcast episodes, right? Hey, can I ask you, what do you think is been your and even though we've only been doing Content Catalyst for the last month, which has been all about content strategy, content
Has it been
marketing
a month
strategy.
already?
Yeah, like we literally started on the 8th of April. That was our first session. We're at the end of April now. And what has been your biggest uh, benefits or takeaways that you've had this month?
Simplifying, like just taking away all the stuff, and we spoke about this actually one of our sessions. It's I don't feel like I'm starting from scratch because I'm bringing so much to the table, but
Mm,
it's like a fresh start and being able to build into the business of how I want it to be and how to grow further. And so to do that, that messaging needs to be on point. And I'm so used to having my wheels spinning on
mm,
that, and like you're so good at actually just bringing me back. And because we've got all the Google sheets that are all everything's there, it's easy to then go back to all of the templates and to be able to then to implement that. So it's very grounding, and
okay,
and it's systematic as well, and it flows. And that's the
okay.
difference what I had before, because I was doing so many things, like I was posting every day,
Yeah,
uh, and I was busy
you were
doing
showing
that.
up all the time.
Yeah, but I wasn't really, I was doing all the things, but it was that, what is it, cycling without the
It wasn't
chain, right?
connecting. Yeah, it
It wasn't
wasn't connecting. It
connecting.
wasn't connecting with you or your audience.
Yeah, whereas now,
Mm,
I'm getting engagement, I'm getting people messaging me and engaging with me, and so there's not so and I think that's another thing to remember, is, like, just somebody
mm,
might get thousands of likes, but doesn't mean that there's actually any, um progress behind that.
yeah,
Whereas when I get a message from someone, and thanks me for for that blog that actually really helped them, or that helped them get through that, and just to be able to engage with them. And it's, yeah, I don't know, it means that it's on point, it's working, the messaging is there. And I think the whole point is to be able to connect. That's the whole point. Social media, social, like engaging, connect
mm.
people. And
And you
I
just
think it
mentioned
was
before that, yes, it's social media, but it's also your blogs, it's all your content, right? It's your messaging on your website, it's your emails that you send out, it's your blog that you create. It all stems from that one clarity
well, that's the
point.
other thing. It's like, rather than being busy creating heaps and heaps and heaps of content that
Mm,
keeps you, as I said, keeps you really busy, it's
yeah,
being able to have repurpose and be smart with, so you can show up on all the platforms, all the things,
mm,
without burning, without using up
without burning it out.
yeah, without burning out, but then also just without chasing your tail doing it as well.
Mm,
And I think if you're in this space and you're on online, you'll understand how much time it actually takes to create online content. Like, it
so
is
much.
ridiculous until you start to learn, like, properly, like
The
from you.
shortcuts. I want all the
Yeah,
shortcuts.
well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's been a huge difference, and that's the other, like, because some, like, creating a podcast is something that I've been wanting to do
Mhm.
for ages, and it's
Yeah.
always been just too hard, too big, too scary, uh, and you've simplified that process, and so, when I settle into my next chapter in life, that's
Your
something
new
that I feel now
home.
confident, yeah, in my new home, that's it. I feel confident, in giving that a go now, whereas I know that there's no way I would've been able to do that without, being in the membership, and not just in the membership, but in the accelerator part of it,
Okay.
because just, yeah, just
Mm.
being able to have that connection with you has been the game changer for me. So thank
Okay.
you.
Why is that? Why is the why is that wonder so just to explain the accelerator part is that as a member of Content Catalyst, you get the masterclass and then 2 workrooms a month, and we did a bonus one this month to do our content categories. However, for those people that upgrade to the accelerator, they also get a one-to-one session with me once a month, so they get, uh, focused and keep accountable of what they're trying to achieve. So how
Well,
is
yeah, well,
mm,
I was doing that with you before you launched the membership, and
mm,
just meeting with you made the difference, because it was all of these little glitches that used to just bog me down and frustrate me, that
mm,
you'd show me through it, and then sometimes you had to show me a couple of times, or maybe 3 or 4, but you did, and it's until I got it, and that's the difference. And I think that's
mm,
the difference as well, when you go and buy an online course and you go, "Okay, I'll do this," and then but then you get stuck with something and you're stuck. Like,
yeah,
that's the difference with your
ah,
membership, right? You can have, if you get stuck, the next week you're gonna be meeting again, or if in the
mhm,
accelerator program, you've got that, fallback where you can get unstuck really quickly, because
mm,
and usually it's a quick fix, and usually other people are stuck with the same thing, and so it'll get
mm,
addressed, because
mm.
we're all in this together, we're all doing the same thing, right?
It's really hard to keep up with it for everyone that's focused on just doing what they do. And, like this week alone, there's been 3 tech updates with Facebook and, TikTok and with, Meta. It is one of the things that I am quietly obsessed with is making sure that I'm like, what is that? That's that curiosity for me. I guess being a marketing brain, number 1, is that I always look at the big picture of things. So I have, I look at your business and I see the potential in what you're doing. And all I really want to do is to get you unstuck with and give you clarity with your messaging. And then from there, the next point that a lot of people get stuck on is they make lots of content, but they're not necessarily connecting with their audience. So that's why a content marketing strategy is so important, is knowing who you're talking to, what you're talking to them about, and how you're talking to them. And then giving you all the tools to just do it really effectively. And one of the things that I talk about is how to turn one hero piece of content into 20 bits of content with a really simple like workflow. And if you've got a VA, for example, or an assistant that you can outsource a lot of those tasks to, tick, 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 tick. It'll make your life so much easier so you can help serve more people. So I'm really excited about what we're about to tackle next month because there is a lot of tech, but strategy will always be my big picture thing is always about the strategy. Most people show up all the time without strategy, and that's why they can spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort with no results. And I think that it doesn't matter how big your follower count is on social media. content marketing is more than how many followers you've got. It's all about your messaging across all your platforms. I spoke about this in yesterday's session about Google's research of their 7-11-4 rule, which is we need to have people consume 7 hours of our content across 11 different touch points. And then they will further investigate 4 different avenues or locations or platforms to validate that information before they purchase. So that's the stranger, like never heard of you, to actually purchasing journey now.
Well,
and it is so true. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting that one hero piece of content, amplifying that message, saving you time to share it across all the platforms and information and the locations.
But there's
With
so much
clarity.
noise out there, and trust is broken because there's so many people out there just spinning so much rubbish that,
Right? That's what I said, like
yeah.
TikTok, one guy 25 and one woman who's over 50, that so totally different generations are saying the same things because they're emulating each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that, trust is broken. And so and I know myself, maybe 10 years ago online, you didn't need, people were, I guess, more trusting, a little bit more naive, I guess, because you could show up and say something and people would buy it. Whereas now it's particularly post-COVID, I guess, it's oversaturated. And unless you have that authenticity and you can back it up, and you talked about before, you said that you're all about the strategy. It's actually more about that. You actually show us how to implement the strategy, because I've had so many other people tell me the strategy, but then when I went to implement it, I just got stuck with stuff. Right. And that's the difference with you. You actually implement it and you do it with us as well. And that's the thing that made the difference for me anyway, personally, and I'm pretty sure for everyone else. So strategy is so, so important, because that's clarity, right? Where you're heading. Yeah. But you're in there with us and going, for you, just take action. But you're shining the light where, before you didn't even know there was a pathway down that way. So that's the difference that I noticed as well. And quite frankly, your business is to know all the things and is to explore the tech and the platforms and everything, that sort of thing. I don't want to do that. That's not my business. And so you take that off my plate and allow me to show up how I want to show up without being bogged down with all that stuff. And I think that's the difference.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. And as we bring this conversation to an end, I guess I'm curious about what has been the most powerful thing for you or resource that you've experienced so far, and we're only in a month, or even just working with me, that you've experienced so far within Content Catalyst?
I can see that I go off on tangents. So then I don't show up consistently. And that's why my messaging didn't resonate. And so you've consolidated me and brought that the strategy, right? And then the big thing is the implementation. That's the biggest thing, because we don't, we'll say we'll go and do all that stuff, but we don't. Whereas when we show up every week and do the workshop and you're there and you're like, okay, let's do it. Oh, this isn't working. Can you show me how this goes? Yeah. And it's fast and it works. And each week you just build your skill set up more and more, and you get more and more clarity and feel more and more empowered. Take things off your plate.
So much. I can't wait to see the growth of your business and your journey over the next year. And I've loved seeing how far you've come in this short amount of time so far. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I really appreciate your openness and honesty about your journey because, again, we paint this picture of that we've got it all sorted. And
Shiny, happy people.
I am
That's
all about
fantastic.
showing the vulnerability behind the scenes, much to my mother's horror. She's like, don't tell people that. And I'm like, I am all about showing because, especially on social media, there is all about the highlight reel. And I am definitely all about showing the balance between the good times, but also the grit that it took to get us there. Because business can be a very lonely place, and that was why community to me was the most important thing in Content Catalyst, was being able to create an amazing community of like-minded people that wanted to grow their business and support each other. And I am so happy to have you inside.
Thank you so much, because it is lonely and it doesn't have to be. So I am very grateful that you've created this because it's awesome.
So, just to wrap up, Content Catalyst is a marketing hub. It's a community. It's a membership where you can come in. We learn about a topic once a month, and then we have 2 workrooms a month where we take action. So the first workroom is Action Workroom, aptly named, where we, implement what we've learnt the week before. The following week, we have an editing workroom. And the editing workroom is because I know how important it is for us to share our message easily, efficiently, and effectively. And rather than doing just one topic for the year, I was like, let's do a little bit each month. So that way we practice and we get results. So if you'd like to join Content Catalyst membership, I have a founding member offer for the next 5 hours where you can save 50%. And if you jump in, you get to immediately get all of the April learnings, which is your content marketing strategy, and you get all the templates inside as well. So we cover your core offer, your avatar, which is your ideal person. We cover your vivid story, which outlines what motivates that person and what you offer, of how you help them, the transformation. And then we also have your planners as well. So we look at your big picture and then we break it down. So therefore you can make one piece of hero content and turn it into 20 different pieces of content across different locations. So we're hitting those touch points to expedite the journey from stranger to customer for you to get results. So jump onto my website, which is debsarbo.com, and there you can get all the details for my membership. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really appreciate our chat. I loved our chat so much, so thank you so much. And here's to making amazing content and helping people by sharing your story.
Cheers to that.
Okay.